What's up, family? It's your boy Eugene from Kenya. Shalom, brothers and sisters. Hope you're well wherever you are. So today, my concern is that these I don't know, I'll call them African American couples or Black American couples, but one has the Indian origin and the other one as let me call a Black American lady. So they've been going out there saying that the Ghanaian year of return was a scam to African Americans, and they provided facts and to what they believe is true according to them. And I want to show you this video, and then I also want to give you my reasons as to why I think that it is not true that the year of return was a scam to African Americans, or it was a way of Ghana's government swindling money from African Americans. So guys, I want us to watch this video critically and don't give it a biased eyes. Watch it, and then after watching this video, then watch my video behind it, and then after the video, and then let's compare the analysis and see who is right and who is wrong about this issue, because I believe that it is not true that Ghanaian government swindled African American money. You know, although Ghana's government have been having some issues, but I don't think that it is true that they swindled African American money. So stay tuned and watch this video and then hear my analysis about it. Thank you. Let's meet at behind.
Seal, and welcome back, family. It's another edition of Real Talk. Now, what we're going to talk about is the business of Ghana, the business of the slave narrative, the business of those supposed slave castles in Ghana.
I heard it was big business.
Well, you know, that big business idea came from, you all remember when Oprah built a school in Africa? Now, she built this school in South Africa, not West Africa. And the reason why she built this school there in South Africa was because South Africa was colonized by the Dutch.
It was more lucrative.
There was more money.
But let's get into how this narrative of us coming from Ghana, West Africa, and them recruiting A-list celebrities.
That sounds like a list of people going to the Soul Train Music Awards.
Yes, it does, because they're capitalizing. You'll notice right up here, it says Ghana business.
Ghana talks business. And he's talking business with celebrities.
Us.
That was a personal, by the way, invitation by the president of Ghana. I haven't gotten my invitation.
And a lot of regular Joes won't. If you want to visit Elmina, you're going to have to go to booking.com where you can get a room to the castle. Wait a minute. Why are they capitalizing off disparity if it really happened?
You know, off of sadness, off of pain, off of death. Why is booking.com
got rooms
available?
Castle Elmina. Come on now.
It's all the business. They're giving us the business.
And we are going for it.
That's right.
Come on now. Why don't y'all wake up and see?
Look at this capper. Now, look, this is Boris.
Is he German?
Yes, Boris here is German. He was born in Germany, yet was raised a little bit here in the United States.
Influenced by us.
Right. But he's a European. He's a German.
A pigmented European.
But he was invited because he's also an A-list star.
He got money.
He got money. That's right.
See, they're capitalizing. And it also puts the people of Ghana in a bad position too, because it knocks two birds out with one stone. While they're making us believe a false narrative, they're making the people of that land believe a false narrative too.
Sure.
They're taking away their power too.
Well, that's
they're misleading them and indoctrinating them with religion too. But that's why those forts were there to begin with.
Those forts were only set up for trading and for protection of the trade and the missionaries.
All the gold that they found. When the Portuguese first landed, they called it the gold mine.
That's right. In fact, it was called the Gold Coast.
Okay. Because they found so much gold. They were stealing the resources, and they didn't have to import any slaves there to take that gold up. They built forts, and they took the people there to give them that gold. They took it from them, and they fortified themselves because, of course, they were in danger. Plus the people that they were trading with, the Swedish, the Danish, the British, whoever else wanted a piece of the gold mine. They stripped their land first, long before they came over here.
See, it's always been about the money. It's been about the business of so-called slavery, the business of stealing resources. It's all business. And what I want our people to understand is that they didn't have to import or deport anybody to become slaves. What you see today is an oversaturated version of slavery. That did not occur in the way that you were taught. It's as simple as that. Remember, we were miseducated, family.
Yes.
You have to remember that whatever education we were given here was to benefit those white Europeans here in the United States.
Not only that, but it was to disempower the indigenous people who were already here. And as you said the other day, they propagate the slave narrative to us. Every time you look up slavery, West Africa, and we pop up. But let me break down what it really means, and let me break down how you weren't a slave in the way that you think that you were. Will you allow me to break it down? Will everybody allow me to break it down for a minute?
Break it down.
Will they stick around? I hope so. When you see these pictures, photography was not invented or popularized, rather, until the late 1800s.
1880, guys.
Okay, so when you see pictures like this, it was agriculture, yes, but it was also a form of disenfranchisement to a degree, because we were now taxed on our land. We were now tenants. We became farmers. First, we were cultivators. We were happily picking the cotton. It was our cotton.
Do any of these people look sad? Do they look like they're in chains?
It was ours. We were happy. It was our land.
Look at this.
If you see me on any given day gardening, I look a lot like these people because I'm not dressed up like this. He's not dressed up. You know, we got a button-down shirt, some suspenders, and we put on our straw hats. This is how we looked. We were not slaves in chains and shackles.
Not the way they taught us.
Not the way they taught us. These slave trade stories are false narratives because when they abolished slavery, it wasn't abolishing cotton picking, agriculture.
No.
It was abolishing those British colonies.
Those original 12 colonies. And
13, rather.
13 colonies.
13 colonies, which was Maryland. Come on, give me some more. Virginia,
Maine.
where they say the first couple slaves landed. In Virginia, that's what they say. Pull it up right here. It says, in Virginia, they exchanged Africans, so-called, for supplies. But wait a minute. In that slave trade narrative, they say they landed in the Caribbean. And they traded in the Caribbean, and that's when they first landed. It contradicts itself.
They contradict themselves all the time.
You can go further and say, okay, well, they did these acts to abolish slavery. The abolishment of slavery was only for the 13 colonies.
For those Europeans that were fleeing slavery and religious persecution.
Yes. The 13 colonies, the first British 13 colonies, were the one, you can look it up in your own time, the abolishment of 1833. It was for the 13 colonies. But then they say it was like they were abolishing slavery all over. They weren't. They weren't. There was no slavery in Mississippi. When you see pictures of us picking cotton, we were paying off our debts.
That's right.
There was no slavery. When you think of slavery, you think of chains and shackles. That's imprisonment. When you think of slavery, you think of human trafficking. That goes on in places like North Korea today.
That's right.
And China. If you look up what are the top 10 countries for slavery today, it's China, North Korea, Pakistan, Nigeria, Turkey, Bangladesh, and then the United States. Wait, why is the United States still on that list? Because of employment. If you are employed, you are a slave.
That's right.
To a degree. Not an extreme degree, but you don't own your time. You got to check in to somebody else. Well, let me tell you, in China, it's 10 times worse. If you don't like boss man here, you ain't gonna like boss man in China. Okay.
And for those who want to go back to Africa, they don't have the industry. What are you going to do? Where are you going to work?
Let me say, if you want to go back to Africa, start a GoFundMe.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Go back to Africa. We'll be waiting at the airport for you.
We'll send you off.
With the champagne.
Bon voyage.
And that big sign to say, get your ass out of here. Okay? Because that's one less egg to fry.
That's right.
We don't need you.
We don't
Go to
need you.
Africa, see how great it is, and you don't even write us. We don't give a damn. Okay? All we need is 13%. All we need is 13%, and everybody else will follow.
But let's get back on subject.
On how they capitalizing off the slave narrative. Let's get back on subject. Okay? Let me reel it back.
I mean, because all the people, all the A-listers, it sounds like a list of people going to the Soul Train Awards.
Let me read it to you.
It's crazy.
Erykah Badu at one time, Dave Chappelle, T-Pain, Jeremiah, Chance the Rapper. We even saw a video of these young so-called Africans. I think it was Ghanaians or Nigerians.
No, they were young Ghanaians.
And they were talking about, I want to see Cardi B. I want to see Justin Bieber.
Justin Bieber? Telling you, the whole world
is indoctrinated.
Has been indoctrinated, especially these younger generations.
They didn't show any older folks saying, hey, you want the dark-skinned Americans, you want the so-called black folks of America to come to Ghana? They didn't show anybody over 50.
No,
they showed a bunch of 20-somethings and teenagers.
And then the people that they did invite to Ghana all had money. And they were looking to invest, for them to invest in Ghana and to also invest in this narrative, this continuation of this disenfranchising narrative. Plain and simple. It's a business. That's why I always say so many of us are taking selfies using someone else's face, but at the same time, they're making money off of your image. We affect everything in the entire world. We have created and invented more things than anyone has done on the planet.
Yeah.
Understand that this slave narrative is nothing but a fictional story to keep us disenfranchised.
Do you know that they remodeled that Elmina Castle in like 2006 through 2015?
Of course, you know, they wouldn't get the 4-star rating from booking.com if they didn't remodel. You know, when we come over there, we got to live pretty well. We want phones and we want good beds and air conditioning. So they did a little remodeling.
That is so crazy.
You know?
That is so crazy how they capitalizing off your so-called pain and suffering, and we're letting them do it out of what? We're so desperate to be connected to something. How you gonna say Africa is the best place on earth when you ain't even explored the land that you've been on for the last 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 years?
That's right.
You ain't even explored this land. Have you been to Yellowstone Park? Have you been to anywhere in the forest, outside the cities and the concrete jungle?
You know how many countries don't have 4 seasons? Look at our country.
We got all
Look
4
at our
seasons.
land.
We can grow anything right here.
That's right.
We got any and everything. That's why they brought their seeds here.
Mm-hmm.
We could grow everything
That's
here.
right. Our soil is some of the most fertile soil in the world.
Baby, You can grow grass from sand here. Do you know? Come on, man. We've seen a flower bloom through the concrete here. You can grow anything on this land. And we are the true Americans. And we did not migrate from Africa at any point in time.
You know, that American.
Oh,
See, in
dear.
order to truly be American, because we are the indigenous Aborigine, the Niji of this land, to truly be American means to accept the American identity. That means to forget who you really are. To take
Now,
on.
that's what that means.
That's what it means right now.
The original meaning.
Show them the original meaning
Of the Noah Webster's dictionary, the original meaning of America was applied to the copper-colored people.
That's us.
That's us.
That's us.
You may wonder, who are the copper-colored people?
Now given to
That is us. But
Right.
now it's given to the Europeans. But you notice how they don't call themselves European anymore. They call themselves what? American. They want to be American. That's because it's now applied to them and the descendants of the Europeans. They gave away their heritage to a degree
And see-
to assimilate that American identity, which is to ignore the real indigenous people of this land. They're calling us black now, and we're not black.
Remember, Malcolm X said you want to be called American, but you don't want to be called really what you are, and that is an Aborigine
Of this land.
of this land.
There
This
were
is your
Aborigines
mother.
all over.
Sure.
We know that.
We know that there are indigenous people under the solar sun all over the world. We're not talking about those people. We're talking about the miseducation, purpose miseducation to disenfranchise our people, to keep our people from remembering who they really are.
Whether
Because
you're from Cuba, whether you're from the Dominican, whether you're from South Carolina, North Carolina, anywhere in North, South, Central, or any of the islands, that's all us. And what they found here and what they documented was the copper-colored people, the Aboriginals, the Americans, the real Americans. That's what they called us.
show them some pictures. They need some background. Let's show them
I'd love to.
some of these pictures.
This is what they found here.
How many of you all have grandfathers that look exactly like that? Look at this.
This is not from Africa.
No.
This did not migrate across the seas. This has been here for thousands and thousands of years. We have been here. We're not here to knock anybody's religion, but you got to understand that that religion that most of you all have is in a direct contact with that out of Africa theory.
In fact, it's a very dogmatic religion because you can't question it.
You need
can't.
to be able to question everything.
Everything, that's right.
We need to start remembering who we are. And we're not who they say we are.
No, and we owe it to our ancestors. We owe it to all the people who came before us, who died for us to stay and for this land to be our homeland, our motherland. This is where we all come from.
Understand that a generation is only 25 years.
That's right.
And a century is 100 years.
4 generations.
1880, anything, ain't that long ago.
No, 1920.
17, and it ain't that long ago.
Right.
All you have to do is do your research. Do your due diligence. Do it.
Look at
Question it.
look at these statues.
Yeah.
Look at their lips. Look at their noses.
And look at it in comparison to the the people who are standing next to it.
Mm-hmm.
These are the statues. And these are the people down here.
Mm-hmm.
We had great images in our own likeness. We
That's
were making
right.
our own. Look at that. And when the Europeans sculpted something in our likeness, look how it looked.
This is not African.
This is us. This is Aboriginal of Turtle Island.
This is Turtle Island.
And you have to acknowledge that. They're being miseducated all around the world. There were dark-skinned, pigmented people of various complexions all around the world. And they're making us all believe somehow that we came out of Africa when we didn't, especially us in the Americas. And they did it through systematic indoctrination. They did it through scare tactics.
Compulsory education, indoctrination, even commercials on TV today. They're still doing it. They're still doing it. Remember, we told you that the American Indian War lasted for 320 years. It supposedly ended in the 20s, in 1924 or so, but it's still going on. And it's an annihilation of your mind. It's mind control. It's paper genocide now. It's taking you away from where you're supposed to be. And that's right here. Family, you have to realize that this back to Africa, going to...
Number one, the Ghanaian government openly promoted the initiative as a commemoration for historical ties for Africans and African Americans. It was beyond money, you see. It was a commemoration for the historical ties, and everyone knows this. And I want you to tell me if those slave dungeons which are in Ghana, the Coast Cape castles which are in Ghana today, were they made to swindle African Americans? I don't think so. You see, also the other thing which is tied to the point that I've just given is that financial reports were totally opened, and if you go to Google until today, you'll find the financial reports there. After the year of return, Ghana bagged around 9.1 billion, from the initiative, and it was even beyond the finances. It was the initiative, which was a commemoration and to reflect the historical ties that we have. It was something which was beyond a scam, and everyone knows this. It is something which everyone recognizes that it is an historical tie which we are trying to commemorate. Also, it is note like the Ghanaian government was behind this. Even African Americans made the initiative to come and speak to the Ghana's government to ensure that African Americans who are escaping racism in the United States at least can find solace in Africa. You see, tell me what you think in the comment section, guys. Tell me what you think in the comment section, because I do feel like there is a misrepresentation of government, of Ghana's government during the year of return, because most of people think that the Ghana's government bagged a lot of money out of it. Why would they want to swindle African Americans when the amount which they bagged, it is in the social media, it is there, it is gazetted, it is there, like everyone can see, like this is the amount of money which Ghanaian government received from the year of return. You see, so there's no way you can't convince me that this is a way in which Ghanaian government was trying to swindle money. Doesn't make sense to me. Tell me what you think in the comment section, guys. Number two is investment versus profit. The Ghanaian government spent a number of money setting up infrastructure, accommodating African Americans, issuance of land, their Cebu land, which was being given to African Americans. Now, when the reports came back, it was concluded that the Ghanaian government accrued 9.1 billion, out of the profit, right? So it means that out of this 9.1 billion, the sector which benefited a lot was the tourism sector, was the tourist sector. Now, the tourist sector only accrued 3.1 billion, which is just 30% of the total amount in which they accrued. What does this mean? This means that it was that never much as they invested in the coming of African Americans. Although this coming of African Americans put Ghana in a spotlight, and in the BBC podcast, when people were asked what's going on in Ghana, and the reports were Ghana is so impressive, So financially, I don't think like Ghana really benefited from the coming of African Americans. Yes, I know they benefited, but when you look at the profits that the amount that they invested, the amount which was targeted, it was lesser than the amount which was targeted. You know, of course, there are other things in which African Ghanaians benefited from the year of return. But when we compare the investment versus profit, I'll not say that Ghana's government, benefited so much, that much. Besides, you see, there are a lot of things which were involved for the coming of African Americans. And I want you to see this as not just as a financial way in which the Ghanaian government was trying to benefit from African Americans, but there's something which is even more than money, How about the emotional connection? How about the people who are escaping from the systemic racism in the United States? You can't put a price on that. People who are finding solace in Africa, you can't put a price on that. So when we look at the amount in which was the investment and the profit in which was accrued, I mean, if you take your calculator today, like 9.1 billion, and the sector which benefited so much was tourism sector, and the tourism sector only benefited, it was around 30%, which is 3.3 something billion out of 9.1. That is 30% if you take out your calculators. So we can't say that there was that much profit that Ghana's government bagged out of the year of return initiative. I'll leave you at that. 3, which is very, very interesting. It is the testimonials of African Americans, testimonials and experiences of African Americans. Now, majority of African Americans who participated in the year of return, the first-hand information which they gave to the media, it was that they were happy with what they are, and they appreciated the connection, they appreciated the cultural connection, the emotional connection, and how they felt. They never complained how this was just a way of swindling money. They never said that they were scammed. It was, if you could listen to, I know, and you've listened to this, a couple of African Americans have positive feedback. We have that reviews that people do. If you look at the reviews of the year of return, it was 80% positive. And there's a video that I did about this. It is 80% positive. 20% which was remaining was just a couple of African Americans who had personal issues which we can't include into. But if you look at it, if you look at the bigger picture, look at the emotional connection, look at the cultural connection. You're in a place where you don't feel black. A couple of African Americans saying that they don't feel black in Ghana, and you've also seen those videos. So when you look at the experiences and testimonies that African Americans have given about the year of return, totally, it was a blessing to them. And some of them are saying that it is true, that it was a blessing to them to move from the United States, from the systemic racism, to come to Africa where you are valued, where you don't feel black, because everyone is black, everyone is of your color. And if even we have a couple of people who are not black, people don't look at them like entirely they're not black. Of course, there is that feeling of feeling different, but people will not show you like by telling you that you're not black, we hate you. But now I'm talking about the black people. Now listen, if it was truly that it was a scheme of scamming African Americans, why do we have positive reviews about the year of return from the participants themselves, African Americans? Come think about it. So this means that Ghana is not something in which they were trying to swindle African Americans. Get it right. Number 4, and the last point, is the long-term relationship that Ghana held with African Americans. They are until today. I haven't seen African Americans being chased out of Ghana, being told that your time has passed, the money that you gave us has now passed, now go back to America. No, I haven't seen that. And why would they do that? So the historical connection and the long-term relationship in which African Americans and Ghanaians are fostered until today, it is beyond financial gain, guys. African Americans are still in Ghana until date, Until right now, while you are watching this video, we have African Americans in Ghana. And in Africa, 60% of African Americans are in Ghana. So there is still that long-term relationship in which Ghana are still retained with African Americans. And this is the fourth proof that Ghana is not swindling money out of African Americans. Of course, I know there are negative reviews, but these negative reviews are personal issues that a person experienced. Maybe a person was scammed by a neighbor, maybe a person was scammed by a community, but the scam, it is not something which is government initiated. You know, the scams are those minor scams, like personal initiated scams. You know, maybe you get an expert, they lie to you about something, but look at the long-term relationship. Look at the cultural connections that African Americans are still having with Ghanaians until today. True shows you that if it was truly a scam, we could have had cases where Ghanaians are revoking African American passports to come to Africa because they're already benefited. And you see, it's not even about the financial gains. Come on, guys. It is the long-term relationship that they have kept. Did you know that if African Americans have high purchasing power, which is true? Look at that as a benefit, but it's not as a way of scamming African Americans. You see, I know Ghana has governmental issues. Just yesterday, Akufo-Addo banished the likes of our own P.O. Lumumba and other African elites who were to hold a youth meeting in Ghana. But look at the long-term relationship between Africans and African Americans. Will tell you that it was not a scam, as you people say. So, majorly, my focus was not on slavery. My focus on why, because today's slavery have been politicized, and everyone have their own version of slavery. But just believe in what you believe. If you know you're a black person, you're a black person, and we came from the one ancestral ancestry, which is black family. And what I'll say is this: I just hope that you get to know the truth wherever you are. And if you're an African American who was scammed in Ghana, I'm sorry about that, but it was not the government. Guys, tell me what you think in the comment section. This is Eugene from Kenya. Peace, love, and harmony. Lastly, guys, always support my channel. Thank you so much. I appreciate the super thanks. I appreciate your comments, and keep on supporting your young African child. Until then, peace, love, and harmony. Salute.